Today we will cover the work of two writers due to reasons of space. First, Karel Babánek was a Czech writer. He was born in 1872 in Březové Hory, the son of mining official František Babánek and Albina Janušková. He studied law at Charles University, becoming a notary official and then law official for the city of Prague. He was pensioned off in 1932. He died in Prague in 1937. A long-time member of several poetry associations, his first poetry came out in 1896. We will review his 1920 Spectres. Dr. Labori has the world ravaged by war, so Dr. Labori creates a disease to make women no longer able to bear children, and ends up wandering in the ruins of a dying world many years later, reminiscent of Flecker's The Last Generation, which is always good. The past has an old man use a projector to watch his own memories, looking over the scenes of his past in his eternal seclusion over and over until he dies. The Spectre concerns a man who always feels the oppressive presence of the previous tenant in his apartment. Before the dead man shows up, introduces himself and leaves. The Comet, the best story in the book, is a long sequence of people of all kinds being faced with a passing comet killing everyone in the world with poison gas, most refusing to believe until the very end, where all of humanity lies there dead. The woman has an artist die and several women come to look at his body, but when the last one and the only one who ever truly cared for him shows up, he stops being dead. Death concerns Jan Thorn, an adventurer and daredevil, throwing himself into the most dangerous situations to challenge death, even going for a completely analogous situation to the Titanic, but death always manifests to save him at the last second just so he can die lingering death in bed instead. Sadly, the remaining 20 stories are not so good. It seems Babánek lost all interest in the fantastic, barring one or two exceptions, and spends most of the book on banal stories of people wondering about why life is worth living at all, on a very shallow surface level, just very uninteresting situations we spend time on before nothing really happens. A good example is Alone, which concerns a painter who left home to make a living using his art, being invited by his mother to spend Christmas at home, and after wandering through Prague on Christmas Eve he decides not to go. As if he never lived, has a dead man's ghost wander around where he used to live a year after his death and finding everyone had forgotten him. But the whole thing is just more musing on why one should be alive at all in the first place. Finally, the case of Stepan Grill has a man convinced he is already dead, but before this idea could be used properly he kills himself. The first 6 stories were really good too, so it's a shame. And second, Josef Dýma was a Czech writer and legionnaire. He was born in 1882 in Náměšť nad Oslavou, the son of clockmaker Franz Dýma and Maria Schmiedl. He attended the Real Gymnasium in Brno, working at the Brno University of Technology and as editor in several newspapers. During World War I, he took part in the fighting in Halič, was imprisoned in a POW camp in Tashkent, organized a revolt over poor prison conditions, and joined the Czechoslovak Legionnaires in 1917. He returned to Czechoslovakia in 1919, worked as a newspaper editor, and died in Prague in 1933. We will review his 1919 shocks. Spring Sacrifice has a few boys jumping over ice floes until one gets stuck, falls over a waterfall and dies. Beneath the barracks is a dialogue between Beppo and Francesco, as they lie dying beneath a collapsed building, questioning faith and the use of being alive, before they die of their injuries among 1,000 others whom none could help. After the battle has several soldiers dying on the battlefield among a mountain of corpses, desperately waiting for the rain to quench their thirst. A sad story has a man who married for love against his parents' wishes, wishing to come home for Christmas and show them his new wife, but the two get lost in the snow and presumably both die. Quite a cheery fellow the writer was.